Has this ever happened to you? You're, say, in a store, maybe Walmart, and you're on the aisle, and you feel some combustion coming on in the bowel area. You don't know what to do. Should you let one rip in the aisle? Will it be an SBD? Will it be noisy? Will it smell or will it not smell? You have no idea. But you have to let it go. It's building up. So you look around. You find nobody around you close by. So you're thinking you're safe. So you let one rip. So, now what happens? Well, that's what this discussion is about. Stay tuned. Here's a little clay figure I made to demonstrate what happens. You have the fart, the cloud, debris. Might want to check your pants. You might have some particulate and maybe a skid mark or two. So as you can see by the claymation man, sometimes it's not a good, clean thing for this to happen. So what exactly happens when you fart? Well, let's draw this out a little bit. We're going to say this is the man. We're going to do a guy with the belly. Looks more like me. Okay, so what exactly happens? So as your stomach, you got your small intestines and your bigger intestines, and it all works down and comes out here in your poop chute. So depending on things that you eat, you may have different types of farts. Some things can cause different types of smells and stuff. But basically it just builds up, and we humans fart numerous times a day. So basically as it works its way down here and you have to release it, it builds up, it starts pressuring up inside your intestines where you have to let it go, and you don't really know till you let one rip just how big and how explosive, how vile it's going to be. But you have to let it go. So now we're showing a naked body right here just to kind of demonstrate what's happening. So as you fart, it blows out. Okay, let's just say it's a nice, healthy, juicy one. It blows out, and the fart comes out under pressure, and the smell can either rise or lower, depending on barometric pressure. If it's high barometric pressure, it's going to be pushing down. So as the fart comes out, the smell and the whatever is going to be more towards the ground area, and it'll linger in that area. If it's low pressure, there's lower pressure, it's going to rise, and now it's going to be up higher. And generally with low pressure, you could also have other problems, such as possibly even lightning. As the smell is up here, now you've got your negative neutrons, or electrons. Excuse me, I think it's electrons. Yeah, so you have your negative electrons up here and your positive protons down here, and it's attracted to that. So if you have the right conditions and humidity, all this stuff, you might actually get a lightning bolt or two before the cloud dissipates, depending on the severity of the fart. So that's a dangerous situation. You could hurt somebody. Generally, the charge is not as near as high as a bolt of lightning from a storm cloud, but it could be a few volts, and it could put us in a little charge. And if you're having a pacemaker or something, it could disrupt you. The person here, that's say he's over here, and it comes down, and he's got a pacemaker in here, and it gets him, and something happens to the guy. Not a good situation. So let's wipe that clean. So now you have that situation where the smell is either high or lower. You don't know what it's going to do, or it can travel at tremendous speeds. Let me get to my notes here so I can remember what I'm telling you. It can travel up to 10 miles per second. And you're probably wondering, maybe, could I outrun that fart? say I'm over here and I'm like on the aisle, could I fart and maybe get on to another aisle so nobody would know, or say I'm in a classroom or whatever, in a house, and you got these different scenarios, and but this fart is traveling at 10 miles per second. It's got a lot of juice behind it. Now it's gonna matter too if you're wearing clothing. So if, say, you're wearing a couple of layers of clothing, underwear, pants, so now your fart is going to have to be filtered through a couple of layers of clothing. It's going to slow it down quite a bit now. And of course, as you can tell by the claymation man, the particulate may be trapped in here, in the first layer, and especially by the second layer. If you don't have clothing on, say you're cooking naked in the kitchen, and you got your table, you got your stove here or whatever, and you got a pot up here with you're cooking your ramen noodles, and it's cooking up here, and I got a fart, man, I got a fart. So you're over there by the stove, and you fart, boom, boom, and say it's a pretty good one, it's pretty juicy, and now, and the barometric pressure is low. Well, guess what? It's going to rise. The smell is going to rise, and depending on the particulate, it could possibly hit something, bounce, up here, and go into your ramen noodle. And now you've got duty in your ramen noodle. And the fart cloud is up here, and of course, the fart cloud's lingering up here, and the smell could be dissipating into your pot of ramen noodle. And don't forget, you could have a bolt of lightning come down, attracted to your ramen noodle, and fry your ramen noodle instead of cooking it, boiling it. So all those things could happen with your fart. But if you have your clothing on, this will help stop that. So it's best to have clothing on if you have to do a lot of farting. Unless you just like that, stuff. Or I recommend maybe not cooking or whatever while you're farting naked. While you're cooking naked and you have to fart, you might want to try to leave the area and get away from that. So as I was saying, what could you, possibly get away from the fart fast enough, whatever. And the sound is no way. The sound's traveling at the speed of sound. You cannot outrun the speed of sound. So if it's a loud fart and somebody's 20 feet away, they're going to hear that fart. They'll probably be able to determine from the direction of the fart who farted. And of course, the look on your face, which is usually something like this, where you're going like, it wasn't me, no, it wasn't me. And they look at that face, they're like, it was you, dude, that we know it was you. So, they're going to know probably pretty deduction of who let the cheese out in the room. So, can you evade, say you're in a classroom or you're with your coworkers, can you evade that? Only maybe if it's an SBD, if it's or just one that's not any smell to it, So you could have that, but you could have an SBD where it's silent but deadly. So if you was able to cut one of those and it was coming through your pants and layers, and you was to like try to move out of the way, and they didn't hear the sound, it's possible that you could get into another room or another location before the smell hits the nose, wafts up and hits the nose of your coworkers or your classmates, and they'll be like, who cut the cheese? Well, it can't be so-and-so, he's not even in the room. So that, that could happen. And so you could evade detection by only with an SBD, or like I said, possibly with one that's silent and no smell. Of course, if it's silent and no smell, then you're safe there, because nobody is going to know. Only you will be the one to have enjoyed the feeling of the expulsion. And with no smell and no particulate or anything like that, it could be a dry one. And so you may not have that. So that's a good thing, that you go through. So you might be able to get away with that. Now, the other thing with being indoors, and it can cause other problems, is if you're indoors, let's say in your classroom or with your in a small workspace, the fart, it has there's walls in there and ceilings. So you have a ceiling, you got your walls, you got your floor, you have chairs and furniture and stuff like that. So as the fart comes out, it bounces off of things. It's like bouncing off here, and it's bouncing. The smell is bouncing too, and so it's kind of confusing. And when that happens, especially after a few seconds. I mean, after the initial coming out, and nobody's like right there next to you, they may not be able to identify except for the sound because it's bounced off everything. It's come in, it's done all this everywhere, so you don't really know where the smell has come from if you didn't hear the fart. So that's another item of interest that I'd like to bring up with you, is that the bouncing effect of the fart, the sound, not only the sound, but also because the sound, if they can't identify you right away, it could be bouncing around the room and confusing your coworkers or classmates or neighbors or whoever, at your party or whatever. You're having a poot party, and they don't know where it's coming from. So that's another item of interest that I would like to partake of with y'all, to let y'all know about. So these are just some little easy facts to know about when you let one rip. Now let me get back to my notes. Now I was going to get with the let's see, what else was I going to tell you? Oh, well, I was going to tell you. I've had people, especially women, tell me that I don't fart. I just don't fart. And I mean, it's a falsehood. Everybody farts. Practically every animal farts. Even insects fart. It's not a fart like ours, but they do build up, and they have a bowel system, and they release farts. And so you women that say you don't fart, or men, whoever says they don't fart, it's just bull, because you do fart, and we all know you fart, and you can't put that over on somebody. So don't even bother, because it's a falsehood. So don't claim you do, because we know you do. We don't claim you don't, because we know you do. Sorry about that. There's a few animals that don't. I've seen where octopuses don't fart. Certain other sea creatures don't fart. But most animals do fart. So that's another thing. And the other thing I wanted to bring up is, exactly how much energy is in a fart. Could we power anything with a fart? As that fart comes out, it has hydrogen methane in it, which is what creates the smell. But it also has potential for energy. That's the reason if you fart sometimes, and it's a good one, you don't want a lot of match around it. That's the wrong thing to do. So don't be doing that. And but farts, they produce approximately 0.11 hours of a potential energy. So let's just say you thought about trying to, let's say, could I run my dryer off my farts? Well, in a year, to run your dryer for a year, a potential normal rate, you would have to let over 43,000 farts, which is a lot of farting. So I don't know if you could do that in a year. Maybe the whole family, you could put it together and have enough to maybe run your dryer. Now a TV, you might could do it with a TV. A TV takes about 5,500 farts to run a TV for a year. So, it's a potential that you could watch TV with the fart from your butt. So that was an interesting fact that I would like to lay out on y'all. Now another interesting fact: people want to have a big problem with the smell. A lot of people are like, "Oh, don't! That's horrible." I don't want to smell that. That doesn't agree with my my nasal cavity, my polyps or whatever in my nostrils. You know, it doesn't like here's your nose, and you're smelling that, and here's your mouth, and you're like getting that in there. You know, like, oh, my teeth. You know, here's that smell going up in there, and it goes up into your olfactory area, and you sense it up in there. What in your brain? You're like, oh my God, that is a horrible smell. But you've got to rethink yourself here, because health-wise, farts are good, and they're good for you. It's a definite yes that you want to smell your own farts, and even your neighbors' farts or friends' farts or family farts. You want to do that because not only is the pressure that's releasing is good for you to get that out of your system, because otherwise you'll possibly explode from too much gas pressure. But smelling of farts have been found, the methane, the hydrogen methane in there is shown to reduce the risk of heart attacks and stroke and cancer and dementia. All that from that hydrogen sulfide. It's called hydrogen sulfide. Sorry, I was calling it methane. It's not methane. It's hydrogen sulfide. Sorry about that. I'm not a scientist. I'm a wannabe fart scientist. So don't believe everything I tell you, because I'm fictitious. And so anyway, so now when your wife is over here and she's got her butt up in the air and she lets a big old nasal blower, coming out of her rump out there, or your wife or your kid lets one, don't be scared. Don't. It's a good thing. Let that big one rip, man. Let it out. If you're the lettee, let it out. If you're the receiver, you want to suck it in as much as you can. So you want to possibly even take your hand with your fingers, make it into a cup area, and cup that fart and bring it up to your nose. So you cup of cheese.
Cup of cheese! Jesus! Cup of cheese!
You cup of cheese it. You bring it down, not only on yourself, when you fart into your hand, as make it like a cup, and you bring it immediately up to your nose. You want to get as much of that in there as possible, because it's going to help you physically and mentally. And not only will they thank you for being understanding about their fart and not being embarrassed, and they're like, oh, you farted or whatever. Now they'll be like, hey, that was great. And you cup the cheese it, and now you're feeling better too. And if you can get them to cup the cheese too, you're both cupping cheeses. And so now you both are safe from heart attacks and dementia and all these other things, cancer possibly, all these things. So you definitely want to do that. So in closing here, I'm just going to tell y'all, I'm going to erase this real quick, but so in closing, I would say, smell that fart. Smell that fart. Be proud of that fart. Proud. Spelling wrong. Proud. Is that how you spell proud? Proud. P-R-O-U-W. Proud. Be proud of that fart. And don't get mad at other people for farting. You want to get it, smell it as much as you possibly can. It's good for you. There's a whole stigma around this that farts are bad. Farts are not bad. Farts are good. Farts are good. So remember that. And we'll be a better place in the future if everybody will do this. So in closing, that is all I wanted to say. In closing, I'm going to say, love your fart. Don't be embarrassed by your fart. Don't try to cover up your fart. Let it rip. And try to teach others the truth about the farts. You can share this video so they will know. And that's all we're going to say. So if you like this video, give it a thumbs up. That's a thumb. And here's your fan. Here's a thumb. So give it a thumbs up. And like it, and subscribe, and share, all that good junk. Helps all my channel out. And do all that, and we'll all be happy. We'll all be better in life. So, in closing, that is all I wanted to say. So, Hawk, the instrument of fartology, teaching the world the truth about farts, signing off, and y'all have a great day and cherish your farts. Bye.
I'm shitting my pants right now.
That's it. That's it. I'm done. That's it.